Hi everyone, thank you for coming to join me on your mat today. I have a practice designed to help release any tension or tightness that you might be feeling in your ankles. This practice comes at the request of a subscriber, so please keep those requests coming. I love getting new ideas from you guys. So let's get started. Come to your mat, come stand on your mat. I want to start standing today. Bring your big toes together, your heels slightly apart so that the outside edge of your feet are parallel to the long edge of your mat. It's going to begin in mountain pose. So draw your attention from the soles of your feet all the way up through your body, toning the thighs, turning the tailbone down, engaging the core. Give your shoulders a couple of rolls and then let the shoulder blades roll down the back. Fingertips reach for the floor. Tuck your chin slightly for a long neck. Crown of the head comes high. You can keep your balance here. Shut your eyes. Take a nice big breath in. Exhale fully. Inhale, filling the belly, the ribs, the chest. And as you exhale, match the length of your exhale to that of your inhale. So we're equal breathing. As you continue breathing in this fashion, draw your attention to your feet. How your feet feel on the mat. Where on your feet your weight is falling. Is it falling in the heels, the balls of the feet, the insides of the foot? You put most of your weight along the pinky edge of your foot. Just notice, don't try and change anything. Begin to move your weight around your feet. Lean forward slightly, bring your weight into your toes. And come back slightly, bring your weight into your heels. And bring your hands to your hips. And come up onto the toes of your right foot. Notice if your hips come out of whack here. If your right hip drops, your left hip pops out. Bring them back into line so that your shoulders are stacked directly over the hips. Just begin to keep the right toes on the mat and give the ankle a couple of turns in one direction. And then a couple of turns in the other direction. Just want to bring some movement, some circulation down to the extremities. Bring your right foot back down onto the mat. Come up onto the toes of the left foot, keeping the hips nice and even. Begin making those little turns with the ankle. Might already be telling yourself something right here about your feet, how they feel. Notice how it feels to make these turns, and go in the other direction. Bring your left foot down. Pick all your toes, your 10 toes up off the mat and spread them as wide as you can. And then try and drop the toes back down onto the mat one at a time, starting with your pinky toe and the next one, and so on down. Keeping the space between the toes as you do it, and then bring your big toe down. Now we can begin to open up the ankles. Now I like to start with a rolled up yoga mat. If you have an extra yoga mat, you can use that. If you don't, you can use a block or maybe a book, something that gives you the right height. And just step forward, bringing your toes up onto the mat, letting the heels drop down. You're just standing with the toes propped up. If you have a wedge, you could use that. If this isn't enough sensation, try using a block or a folded up blanket, maybe a really stiff pillow. Anything like that will work. And just stand here. Oh yeah. Walk your feet in to increase that sensation. Walk them away to decrease it. If this is too much sensation, you can unroll the mat halfway. When we're here in this pose, let's keep our mountain pose and the rest of the body. So thighs are engaged, tailbones turned down, core is strong, broad across the collarbones. Shoulder blades relax down the back. And just stay here. Letting the ankles are in full flexion. Getting a nice stretch across the back of the calves. Now, if you've had enough of this, you can just gently step back off the mat, bringing the feet together. Take a breath here, see how that feels. If you wanted more of that, you could just pause the video and stay there for a few more minutes, for as long as you like, and then move on with me to open up the fronts of the ankle. So here again, toes together, heels apart. Slight bend in the knees here, so when the knees aren't locked, you just to bring your hands to your hips so you can monitor the movement of your hips, and bring your weight into your left foot, and draw the right foot behind you. Bring the tops of your toes down onto the mat, and let that foot just melt, the top of your foot melt into the mat. This could be an intense pose. If the first one didn't bother you, this one probably will. That's just the way these things tend to go. Draw your right foot back next to your left. Take a moment, find your balance again. You can sway around on your feet. Then you can draw your left foot back behind you, letting the tops of the toes melt down onto the mat. Remembering to stay nice and tall through the spine, drawing the ribcage up and away from the hips. And sometimes get a bit of a toe cramp here to start. Try and breathe through it. Or you can wiggle your toes, see if you can wiggle it away and then return to the pose. Draw the left foot in next to the right. Inhale your fingertips all the way up to the sky. Push the feet into the mat even as you reach your fingertips up. Drawing your hands through heart center now. Soften the knees and roll all the way forward into a forward fold. You can set this extra mat aside now. Just hang here in waterfall pose or ragdoll pose, holding opposite elbow. You can sway a little bit. Let your weight move around the soles of your feet. See what feels best for you. While you're here, let the spine extend, the head hang heavy. And drop your fingertips to the mat and bring your hips down over the heels. Heels are going to come up off the mat. Just hold yourself in a little ball. As tight as you can. Tuck your chin into your throat, around the spine. Now for this next part, you can keep the toes together or you can separate your feet to hip width apart. Come up high on your toes. Bring your shoulders over your hips. Bring the hands out in front of you, shoulder height. And very slowly, come all the way up to stand on your toes. Staying on the toes. A little bit of balance here. Bring the right hand back, take a twist to the right. Stay up on the toes, take a twist to the left. And then all the way back down. Coming back to center. Coming back to center. Bring your hands to your hips and let your heels relax down on the mat. You can pull your toes up off the mat now. Nice relaxation here. And then bring your feet, your heels till they're about hip width and turn your toes out at 45 degrees. And let's make our way now into a nice low yogi squat. I like to sway my hips as I come all the way down. bringing the hips as far down as they'll go. Now, if this is uncomfortable for you, you can take a block or a pillow, bring it underneath your seat, stay here. Or you can let the hips slide free. Bring your arms, your elbows to the inside of your knees, hands to prayer position. And notice the flexion of the ankles here. If your heels don't comfortably reach the mat, you can prop them up with your rolled up mat, or maybe a block. A folded blanket would work. Your fingertips to the mat in front of you. Support yourself. Bring your weight forward and plant your palms. Let the hips come up and step your feet back to downward facing dog. Here you can paddle out the feet. Let the backs of the legs open, because they do want to open after those squats. Come up high on the toes of both your feet, and then pivot on the balls of your feet and bring the heels to the right. Sink those heels back down over the mat, so you're getting a little twist in the ankle. Turn in the leg. Inhale to come up. Press the heels straight back. Inhale, come up, and bring the heels over to the left side. Pivoting on the balls of your feet, just getting a nice twist in the lower body. Try and keep the shoulders squared towards the front of the mat here. And then inhale, come up to center, and one more time, push those heels back towards the back of the mat. Coming forward, drop your knees to the mat and bring yourself all the way down onto the mat. Nice and comfortable here. You can stack your hands and rest your forehead. Tops of the feet are pressed into the mat. I want you to turn the tailbone down so that the low back is stable, the core is engaged. Just slightly to protect the low back. And we're going to just now bring the left heel in towards the left sits bone. You come up onto your right forearm. Just take the top of your left foot and draw that heel just to the outside of the left sits bone. Nice, easy breathing here. We shouldn't be feeling too much pressure or crunching in the low back. If you're uncomfortable, you can come down. If it's fine, come on back up. You can turn your fingertips forward and really press into the top of that left foot so that you're getting a nice stretch in the front of the ankle. You're actually getting a stretch in the whole front of your left leg. If your tailbone's turned down, you're going to feel it right in the hip flexor, the quad, all the way down, past the knee, the shin, the front of the ankle, the top of the foot. Come out of this, gently release your foot back down next to your right foot. You can stack your hands here for a moment. Rest your forehead and just sway your hips from side to side. Loosening the low back. And coming up onto the forearm of the left arm. Bend your right knee, bringing the heel in towards the sits bone. Reach back with the right hand. Bring that heel in closer. Stretching the top of the foot. Tailbone's turned down here. If you're really flexible, you can press into the top of the right foot and turn your fingertips in the same direction as your toes, so pointing towards the front of your mat. Press down with the heel of your hand onto the top of the right foot. Either way, you're pressing down onto that top of your foot. Gently release your right foot to come back down next to your left. Stack the palms. And one more time, elongate the spine, let the hips sway from side to side. And bring your hands in next to your chest. Press yourself back to child's pose. Just stay here for a couple of breaths. So you did have a slight back bend there. This is a nice way to neutralize after the back bend. Make your way back to tabletop. And I'm gonna suggest we end the practice in the way I always like to end practices that are focused on the feet, and that's to do with legs up the wall. I'm going to use this doorway here because I don't really have any good wall space in my house. But you just bring your hip up against the wall, and then as you lower your spine down, bring the feet up. It takes a minute to get comfortable. You can slide a block underneath your hips here for further height if you like, or you can just stay like this. This is a great thing to do at the end of your practice, especially if your feet have been bothering you. The gravity will just help take any accumulated fluids that are down in your feet, any inflammation. Let it bring it back up into your legs and your body. So you can just relax here. Don't have to do anything at all. So you can stay like this for Savasana, or you can move into a traditional Savasana where we lie on the mat, the legs extended. Either way, your goal here is to release all muscular tension. Relax as much as you can. The muscles in the face, the head, the neck. Let your chest be really heavy and the heads of your shoulders roll back towards the floor. Nice and heavy through the torso and the hips. Let the weight of your legs just plug the bones down into your pelvis. I'll stay here for a few more moments. Come out of this pose, remove the block if you've taken one. Bend your knees. Just roll down to whichever side or feels better for you. If you've been in Savasana on your back, just wiggle around a little bit and then roll over onto your side into the fetal position. Just big breath in here. Exhale to release. And as you're ready, press into your hands, use your hands, bring yourself back up to sit in whatever way feels good for you. Shoulders come up over the hips, the crown of the head comes up high last. I hope that you found this practice helpful. I really enjoyed putting it together for you. Please continue to comment. Let me know things that you'd like to see in your practice, and I can post that for you. Also, share, subscribe to my channel. These things really help me to continue making these practices for you. Namaste.